All right, cats and kittens. The new Hologram Microcosm. So, spent a few minutes with it, and I mean, you know, I was just rereading the manual and figuring out how this whole works. The first thing I would say is, as soon as you get it and turn it on, adapt the global settings to your wishes. Like, for instance, if you want trails or true bypass, it comes with, I think, buffered no trails is the default. There's a few default things that it comes with that were not what I would have done, but that's number one, is go right to the global. And what you do for global is you press phrase looper and select at the same time with, trying to hold my guitar here with two separate fingers, boom, hold them down for 2 seconds and you're into global. And then the easiest way that this works is each of these knobs then affects a separate global parameter, and you turn the knob according to these lights, 1, 2, 3, 4. It only has 4 choices per global parameter. Should be enough for most people. And once you do that, you can go on to the next knob because it remembers it. So anyway, that's number one that you should do foist. Aight? Aight. Second is every knob, now that you're into playing, so there's bypass, engage. Everything affects everything. There are secondary functions as well. To get to the secondary functions of each of these knobs, you press Shift with one finger and you turn it, and you basically just got to hone it into where you want it just by hearing and playing, which let's hear and play. So I'm just going to run through real quick. So I've adjusted, you know, roughly what, I mean, literally I've done it for about 5 or 10 minutes, but roughly I've figured out, you know, close to what the sounds I want. By the way, the reverb has four different reverbs. And the way you adjust that is you hold Shift, and depending on where you are with the space knob, it'll light up 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now I'm in the ambient one. That'll probably change because I have other reverbs that I use afterwards. I might just keep like a room or something, and there is a room. That's number one. So there's 4. There's like room, dark hall, etc., etc., and the last one's number 4 is ambient. I'm just going to use ambient because it's kind of an ambient device, which you'll hear in a second. Enough of the jibba jabba. Yeah, and then this knob, the preset knob, scrolls through all the different, from micro loop to glitch to granules to multi-delay. The other thing I would say straight off before I show you some sounds is the phrase looper is after the effects. That's another thing. Like I would never do that. I would put it before. But I understand why some people would. They might want to record those effects onto there. Maybe because of where it is in my pedal chain, I want them pre-effects. So to do that, you press phrase looper and pre-effects lights up. Get it? Easy enough. And that's how you change a lot of things. To make a preset, you want to save it to wherever. There's the slots. So you have user down here. You make the preset, and then you hold this preset button, press it in, and that saves your preset, I think. Anyway, yeah, so here, let's hear some stuff. So what I've got going, I think you can hear it. It's a little evolving thing going on. Right, so that's the ambient reverb, not turned up all the way, like at 2 o'clock. Repeats at about 1. And the activity knob, so the activity knob is interesting. That's going to affect, depending on where you have it, your loops in different parts of these presets, right? So what I noticed is I was looking up to like, what does Mosaic do? And it has like, you know, double speed, half speed, and normal speed, and all these things. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not really hearing that. But so what it does is when you record a loop, the activity knob where it is chooses A, B, C, D. So that's how a lot of the parameters work. So the topography is kind of like A, B, C, D, depending on where the knobs are and holding the shift to get at certain things. You dig? So, yeah, so loop level, you can have, the other parameters you want to do in global is whether you want the loops to fade in and fade out. But this is like a pretty cool... And what I've done here is I've got the shape is where it is, but the shape secondary is mod depth. Mod speed is, mod depth is the repeat secondary. You can see what the secondaries are written below the main features. So the mod depth is kind of low. The speed is, the mod depth probably like midway. The speed is kind of low. The filter, so you can adjust the resonance of it, and I would be really careful with that because I tried a lot of things, and then where you put the knob after you set the resonance can get really, really squirrely. So I kind of set the resonance pretty low, and then the filter around 11 o'clock. Tap tempo, everything else works great. I'm pretty happy. So let me, it's a cool sound. Yeah, so let's I pressed hold, so let's see. Oh yeah, hold is holding. Cool. Let's record something. What the hell happened there? Let's erase that, whatever that is. Holy Jeebus. I must have recorded something earlier when I was messing around and I didn't realize it, which is highly possible. I did something there. Not really sure what. Let's try this again. I'm happy with the record quality. That's really good. Let's try it again. So that's... Interesting. So that's recorded. Okay, got it. So, I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm already confusing myself. So, a key thing here is that once you're into a mode, which I saved, which is cool because it was pretty I like the sound. Not my loop, but the sound of all the rest. So once you're in here, you can see these lights are changing. Those are the 4 modes. The manual said something about how activity interacts with them, and that is how the effects interact with it. Particularly, I didn't hear that much going on, but so you can see, like once we're in Mosaic, there's Mosaic 1, there's Mosaic 2, and so on. And I was more interested in Mosaic 3, so let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, so you can hear where the effects are interacting with your loop based on what parameter, I don't know what they call these, but presets basically, what that's on and what preset 1, 2, 3, 4 within each one of these, right? And then where your effects are set and where the activity is set is how it kind of sort of interacts. You dig? That's kind of cool. One more thing I want to do, so before I leave and go confuse myself some more, and I hope this has been semi-useful. That's with the effect in. So you can hear that my, one of the things I was concerned about is some of the other hologram effects were affecting my tone. The Infinite Jets and whatever came before that cut a lot of bass. I don't hear that much, but what I do hear is that I'm losing some volume, some master level, but there is a way to adjust that as well in the global parameters, which I am about to do. So that's the other thing I would say as soon as you get this to pay attention to. Okay, cool. So I think I've bored you enough. I hope it's been semi-useful. I just learned something. And it's cool. I dig it. I think this is going to be very, very useful, but it's more of, I don't know. I don't want to taint anybody's opinion yet, but it seems to be more of a morphing ambient thing, which is cool, but I'll play with more of the presets and get back to you later. And you know, it's cool that you can record overdub and have the effects interact with that. I think it's going to take some work because, as you saw, like I kind of stumbled onto it regardless of reading the manual several times, which I thought it did it one way and it turned out doing it another way, which was easier and cool. But even when that happened, it was affecting it very slightly, even with the effect turned up. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get better at it. I'm sure you'll get better at it. I think you'll like it. So far, yeah, I dig it. I think it was a worthwhile investment. I don't think it's going to replace anything. I think it's its own thing. How about that? So, yeah. And I've got tensors. I've got moods. I've got count to fives. I've got hexa revolvers, blah, blah, blah. They're all different. They just are. All right? Okay, just enjoy the things for what they are. I will enjoy this for what it is, and I hope if you got one, you like it. All right? Cool. Talk to you later.